How's it going, everyone? My name is Dr. Rivera. I'm the owner and founder of Life by Zon Chiropractic. We started a little early, but I want people to start tuning in. If you're just tuning in, wave in the comment section. You can do a wave. You can do a hashtag healing, hashtag gut health. Let me know that you're there. If you're listening, I have a lot of followers from all around the world. If you are listening from anywhere other than Louisiana, let me know where you're from. And so name your city, name your town, so you can have a shout out. But today we're wrapping up really. We've done a series for the past 3 weeks about gut health. The first week really talked about what is the digestive system, why is this so important. The second week we talked about, what disrupts your gut lining. We talked about leaky gut, and what actually, destroys your gut lining, what causes a lot of these autoimmune conditions that a lot of people struggle with, and things like that. And in the third week, we really talked about how to heal your gut. Last week we talked about how to truly heal your gut, and we named different types of steps to do so and what you can do. So we talked about taking out the bad, putting in the good. We talked about bone broth, collagen, and intermittent fasting and things like that in order to heal your gut. And so if you haven't listened to those, I would go back to those videos, whether you're listening from Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else. That you can go back to those part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series of gut health. If you truly want to heal your gut, if you're struggling with gut issues, if you're struggling with autoimmune conditions, this is a series you got to listen to. And so if you have a family member, you have somebody that's in your heart that's struggling with gut issues, immune system issues, please share this with them, tag them. Because today we're really going to be talking about we talked about leaky gut, but leaky gut is about 90% of people with gut issues. But that's 90% you can take care of. You heal your gut that way. 90% of different gut issues can be healed. You just do what I talked about last week. However, this right here is about this 10%, this margin that after you try to heal your gut and it still doesn't work. Your body is still bloating. Your body is still, you're still struggling with gut issues. And so this is for you who've tried to heal your gut and it didn't work. And so this is one of the best things that you can do that I've noticed is that with people that 10%, that small population. And I'm going to get into it right now. If you're just tuning in, tell me where you're from, wave. Do hashtag healing, tag someone, share this. But what we're going to talk about today is something that's called FODMAP. What is FODMAP? FODMAP is, what it stands for is fermentable, oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polymers. I know that's a lot of long words, but basically what that means is just fermentable carbohydrates. And it's food that we're really accustomed to that you don't even think is bad for us. But many people are sensitive to these types of foods. That's why they keep getting gut problems. And then I'm going to read a list of some examples of different types of foods that may be common and you think it's healthy, but it may be the cause of a lot of your gut problems. So some FODMAP foods is lentils, beans, excess fructose. What is fructose? Fructose is a sugar that's found in fruit. And so, such as mangoes, apples, pears, watermelons, dry fruits, fruit juice, things like that. Lactose. Everybody knows we talked about dairy, how detrimental that is to your gut. Lactose is an enzyme that's in dairy that causes lots of digestive issues. So that's another one that's in this family right here. And different veggies. Broccoli. Yes, broccoli. asparagus, cabbage, garlic. My fiance loves garlic, and so she's smiling in the back. But yes, garlic is a FODMAP food, is a fermented food that you can be sensitive to. Onions, cereal, and things like that. Those are just some examples. But when you think about these different types of foods, I mean, those are very, very common. You don't really seem like, that they can harm you, but you may be sensitive, your gut may be sensitive to certain types of those foods that I just mentioned. And that can lead to things like IBS, and it keeps irritating you. So, like, if you are struggling with gut issues right now, like, definitely try the leaky gut, the strategy that I gave you last week of how to heal your gut. And you try that for about 2 months. Like, try to heal your gut for about 2 months, and you be strict with that. And let's say if that still doesn't work, then you have to address this. I mean, you just got to address this, and this is how you address it. So one of the best ways to address this right here, because this creates difficulty, because you have to know what the FODMAP foods are. And so you have to get a list of the FODMAP foods are, and then take them away from your life. Like don't even get close to them. Don't eat them, nothing like that. And then do that for about 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks, you start introducing them back into your diet, one by one. So after 2 weeks of getting rid of all FODMAP foods, you start bringing in garlic. Start adding garlic to your food, and see how you react. And give it 2 weeks. Give it about 2 weeks. And see how you react. And if you react fine, if you're good, good. Then add some broccoli to your diet. Add some broccoli. That's a FODMAP food. And see how you react. Then add some onions after 2 weeks and things like that. This is a process. Having digestive issues because your gut is so damaged for so many years that it's gonna take some time. It can take several years for your body to heal your gut. However, if you find whatever's causing it, let's say you go back and you eat onions and you start getting bloated, and you start not using the bathroom and things like that, then you already know you're sensitive to onions. Then you have to eliminate that. It's called the elimination diet. The elimination diet. You just eliminate it out of your diet. And then we have to do that for every 2 weeks, one by one. And then I would keep a journal right here. I would keep a journal and write down everything that you eat. So you don't, so you make sure you get away from those FODMAP foods in order to test. It's really trial and error. It's one of the best ways to, after you try to heal your gut with, through that leaky gut process, and try to heal your gut through leaky gut. And if that doesn't work, you go to this. The elimination diet is one of the best ways to figure out what you're sensitive to, and how you can heal your gut, and what to stay away from. A lot of people ask me about like sensitivity tests. So sensitivity tests are good. I mean, allergy tests are more accurate. However, a lot of people have sensitivity tests they take. It's variation with sensitivity tests. There's a lot of variation. For example, let's say you eat a lot of almonds. You eat a lot of almonds every single day for years and years and years and years. That's what you do. And you take the test, and a sensitivity test. Guess what you're going to be sensitive to? Almonds, because you've been eating almonds for such a long time. And then you take away almonds and give it about 2 weeks, and then you take the sensitivity test again. Guess what? You're not sensitive to almonds no more. So it's a lot of variation. I really don't like sensitivity tests. Allergy tests are more accurate, but doing this right here, you can, it's a lot cheaper, and you get to do it, and you actually know, okay, I'm sensitive to this, this, and this, and this. It just takes a little longer. And so, but that's for FODMAP foods. Let me make sure I'm not leaving out anything. And so, but very, very important. That's for the 10% of people right there, you know, that 10% of people that healing your gut doesn't work for you. This is what I recommend. So we're going to turn the tables. We're going to be talking about bacteria. Bacteria is very, very, very important for your gut. Good bacteria. There's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. But when it comes to bacteria, basically, there's about 100 trillion bacteria in your gut. That's more than we have cells. We have about 72 trillion cells. We have more bacteria than we have cells. And so that's very, very important to understand, because bacteria is essential to life. It's essential to life. In order for you to live, we cannot live without bacteria. And so, like, we have about 100 trillion. We have about 500 strains of bacteria. 500 different strains. And they all has its different functions. And that's about 5 pounds of bacteria. So if you weigh yourself, guess what? 5 pounds of that is just bacteria. That's it. And so 5 pounds is bacteria. We have about our body produces about 20 or less enzymes in order to break down food and create different types of proteins and things like that. Bacteria creates 20,000 different enzymes for our body. So there's 100 trillion bacteria create 20,000 enzymes for our body to function and to regulate, and so we can live day by day. So it's very, very important for bacteria. It also fights bad bacteria. It actually fights for you. It acts like an immune system. And so it destroys bad bacteria. So the good bacteria actually infuses your immune system to attack your bad bacteria. It helps you digest food. It helps you break down food, certain foods, and things like that. And then also it heals your gut lining. Surprisingly, it does heal your gut lining, your good bacteria. You know, so when we talked about leaky gut a few weeks ago, we talked about how it breaks down your gut lining and bad stuff comes out and goes into your bloodstream, and your immune system has to react to it, and then boom, and you do that for long enough, and guess what? Autoimmune condition comes after you. Your body starts fighting itself. Well, guess what? Our good bacteria, our 100 trillion bacteria, guess what? It has the ability to heal your gut and your children's gut. So it's very important to know what our good bacteria is. And so there's some terminology that you got to understand right here. It is probiotics and then prebiotics. If you're in the chat, you know, say that you probably have heard of these two, probiotics, prebiotics, things like that. So probiotics, basically, it's for us. It's your good bacteria. It's for you. You. And so, like, you need probiotics. That's your good bacteria. Prebiotics is what your probiotics feed off. It's food for the good bacteria. That's what prebiotics is. It's food for the good bacteria. And probiotics is your good bacteria. And so those are very, very important. You need both of them in order for your body to really function, or to really heal your gut and to heal your gut lining, digest food back, you know, all these things to occur. You need these things right here. And so one thing you got to know about bacteria, a lot of people don't know this, but where does it come from? Where does your good bacteria come from? Well, the first thing, let me erase this. I hope everybody got this right here. But I'm going to erase this right here. And I'm going to start talking about a few things about bacteria a little bit more. So where does the bacteria come from? Bacteria come from? It comes from, number one, the birthing process. I don't really have good good handwriting, but hopefully y'all know what that is right there. But that right there is the birthing process. That's where bacteria comes from. It actually comes out when you come out. When you come out of your mother's womb, if you have a natural birth, you have all that good bacteria that comes out with you. However, the majority, it seems like, of kids that are born today, it's like a medical emergency now. And now they have C-sections. Well, with C-sections, you bypass this process. You bypass the birthing process, and then you don't receive your baby does not receive the good bacteria that it needs to build its immune system and to develop a good digestive system. And so a lot of kids get like bloating, they get colicky, because they didn't go through the birthing process, the natural birthing process. And so basically, if your kid came from a C-section, then they start life at a deficit. They start life at a deficit. They're not 100% them because they bypassed this process. They didn't receive the good bacteria. So if your baby, or if you know somebody else's baby that that went through a C-section recently, like they should be immediately like taking some type of probiotic if they're able to. And so there's kids probiotics. You're able to do that, but to build their gut lining. That's very, very important because you bypass this process. That's why C-sections can be dangerous, especially for the immune system as they develop. Number 2, mother's milk. Mother's milk. So colostrum, breastfeeding is very, very important because when you the mother sends basically a bunch of antibiotics, well, not antibiotics, but bad, good bacteria to the baby. And it develops their immune system and develops the digestive system. So a mother's milk is big. And then number 3 is dirt. Surprisingly. So the outdoor. And so bacteria comes from dirt, playing in the dirt, going outdoor, walking, or playing with grass, playing with trees, things like that. It's very, very important to have your kids, if they want to develop a good digestive system, a good immune system, to go outside and play with dirt, play with things and things like that. It's very, very important because nowadays, guess what all kids are doing? On their phone, computer, in their games and things like that, and they don't have enough time to get their vitamin D from the sun and play in the dirt, play with trees and stuff like that. They need to be out in the environment in order to develop a good immune system, in order to develop good bacteria, in order to fight for you. Because remember what I said, it helps you digest, it helps with all your enzymes and things like that. It's very, very important. And so these are really the 3 ways that bacteria come from. And of course, you can supplement, probiotics and things like that. But these are just the 3 main ways. And so another thing is, where does it, what disrupts your bacteria? What disrupts your bacteria? Bacteria disruption. There's a few things. And so, but the main thing is antibiotics. Antibiotics. And so, like, antibiotics are overused nowadays. And so, antibiotics is one of the main things that disrupts your bacteria. And so, if you think about it, I know an MD, and he told me that when someone takes antibiotic, it's like a nuclear bomb to your gut. It destroys all good and all bad bacteria at the same time. But the problem is here in America is that we take, especially if somebody has like an ear infection or stuff like that, a kid has an infection, you have some type of, antibiotics can save your life, but for emergency situations. But when you have some type of infection and stuff like that, it's better to heal your gut better than anything. And so antibiotics, basically, there's an overuse here in America of overuse of antibiotics. And so when you overuse antibiotics, what happens is something that's called a superbug. A superbug basically is your bad bacteria become a whole lot stronger. And so when you take a nuclear bomb right here, antibiotic to your gut, it destroys all good, all bad, but those very, very strong bad bacteria, they stay. And guess what? They start duplicating. And they start creating more and more and more bad bacteria until antibiotics don't just work. And so that's why it's very, very dangerous for the overuse of antibiotics. That's why I always say, like, let's say for an emergency, you do take antibiotics. You should immediately be taking probiotics. Right after you're done with the regimen, you should immediately be taking probiotics, fermented foods, and things like that to start building the good bacteria in your gut. And so, but antibiotics is one of the, really, it destroys your good bacteria. So you got to replenish the good bacteria that's in your gut. Number 2 is stress. Stress is what stress affects your whole entire body. And so, but one of the biggest things when you think about it, stress, it's like you're running from a bear. If a bear was right here in this room, guess what I'll be doing? I would either be fighting it or I'll be walking out this door right here. Well, I gotta save my fiance first, but yes. And so, like, I'll be doing one of those. But guess what? If there's a bear right in front of me, I have to either what my body does naturally without me even thinking about it. It raises my blood pressure. It raises my heart rate. And also decreases certain things that I don't need at the time of danger. So what does it decrease? It decreases blood flow to what? My digestive system and my reproductive system. Because my body is not interested in that right now. It's interested in either fighting that bear or running out of this place. And so so it decreases blood flow to your digestive system. And guess what? Your digestive system is not going to work at 100%. So stress actually disrupts the good bacteria that's in your gut. And so you got to find ways to decrease your stress. And there's nothing that works better than prayer for stress. There's nothing that works better than prayer for stress. I just want to let you know that. Antibiotics, stress, what else? Toxins. We talked about toxins and then sugar. So toxins like genetically modified organisms, things like that, a lot of additives that are added in our food, those are all toxic and that destroys our good bacteria. We kind of talked about that when we talked about leaky gut. And then sugar, we also talked about that when we talked about leaky gut. Like sugar just destroys your gut, period, if you eat too much sugar. And so that disrupts your good bacteria. So these 4 things right here, if you want good bacteria for the rest of your life, you want a good, healthy immune system, you want to digest better, you really want to stay away from these too much. You want to decrease. Sometimes you can't stay away from them. You got to decrease as much as possible these. And then how to fix it. How to fix this. Bacteria fixing, I'm going to call it. Bacteria fixing. I'm going to close with this. How do you fix your bacteria? Well, I already talked about probiotics. But first, the biggest thing is, taking the bad stuff out. We talked about all the bad stuff. Take that out. And then you put the good stuff in. You put good fermented foods. Fiber. Good fiber foods like different types of vegetables. Fermented foods. If you have, if if you have that FODMAP, what I talked about before, then you got to be careful with the fermented foods. When I talk about fermented foods, is like kefir, kombucha. Those are drinks. It has a lot of good bacteria. Sauerkraut, kimchi is, I believe, it's called. But those are good fermented foods. But you got to be careful with some of them, because like kombucha, there's a lot of kombucha drinks that has so much sugar, has more sugar than like a Dr. Pepper or like a Coke. So you got to be careful with some kombucha drinks, because they have a nice label, they have it tastes good, but when you look at the ingredients, it has tons of sugar. So you got to be careful with some kombucha drinks. But they do have some good probiotics in there. So a good probiotic, this is what I sell in my office right here. Probiotic 50 billion is that for my patients that are watching, is actually on sale. This whole entire month is on sale. Is 50 billion probiotics. This is one of the most powerful, potent probiotics, I have to tell you, because I'm not really a fan of certain probiotics, but this one I'm a big fan of. And so like it's on sale. I think it's 40% off the whole entire month of August. And so like, but you need a good probiotic, good fiber that typically comes from vegetables, and then fermented foods are to replenish your good bacteria. But also you have to get away from all that bad stuff that we talked about. And so it's very important to do those things if you want good healthy bacteria in your body, which is good for you. And so, but other than that, hopefully, I think I'm done. But hopefully, I learned something during this series. And so, if you have any questions, like personal questions, whatever it is, you can message me on Life by Design Chiropractic page. Private message me. You can call the office, text the office at 337-564-6197. And for those who are guests that don't come to the office to get adjusted and things like that, like, you're welcome to come to the office and check your nervous system, and I can do a one-on-one consult with you on just your gut. And so you can always message me and do that. But other than that, I believe that we are done. Thank y'all so much for listening. Tomorrow, just to let you know, I'm doing another talk online. It's going to be about movement and the importance of exercise. I'm going to do another 3-week series on exercise. And then I'm going to host an exercise, a workout here at the office for you. And so you cannot miss that. Don't miss that. Don't miss the next 3 Thursdays at 6:30. And we're going to be talking about movement, the importance of movement, and what you can do and make exercise easy. Easy. It only takes like 20 minutes at home to do. At home, at your home. That's it. I'm going to make it very easy for you to work out and move, so life can be shine through your body. And that's the biggest thing. You gotta live more of a quality of life, not just a quantity, but a quality of life. And so, but other than that, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night, and then I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay?